Good afternoon. I've always wondered in reading this particular gospel passage who these other people were, those who were driving out demons in the name of Jesus, but were not of their company. Who were they? And why does Jesus seem to have so much, let's say, leniency towards allowing them to do what they do? Sort of an unanswered question, at least in scripturally, I guess. But I think, as I always ask myself, what does this particular passage have to do with me? What does it have to do with us? Why do we read this passage? What does it teach us? What might we learn from the advice, the admonition that Jesus gives us in this gospel? Jesus says, there's no one who performs a mighty deed in my name who can at the same time speak ill of me. Whoever is not against us is for us. Makes me think, I know working in the church, hate to say it, but working in the church for quite a few years, parish ministry, different kinds of ministries within our church, oftentimes there's jealousy and rivalry, even among parish council members, God forbid. And there's always those people who think they're better than others, or maybe look down on the work that others do in the church because they don't think they're doing a good enough job, or maybe they don't have the intelligence that they think they ought to have, or whatever. I've seen it all the time. I hate to say it. There's a lot of infighting within the Christian community. And Jesus really, I think, speaks very clearly against that kind of a dynamic in today's gospel. Not directly, but in a way. So maybe as we think about this gospel, especially those of us who are engaged in, actively engaged in kind of being ministers within our church in any way, whether it's a volunteer in the parish or working in a soup kitchen or a food pantry or on the Little Portion farm or wherever, do we place ourselves above others? Do we think we're better than that or this person because they don't quite get it, we think? Is that our attitude? Whoever's not against us is for us, Jesus says. We ought to work together. We ought to look at the good that other people do and not dwell on those things for which we wish to criticize them. Who am I to judge? We might say. Jesus always preaches humility. Jesus always preaches mercy. Jesus always preaches forgiveness. Jesus always preaches compassion. And this same Jesus is the one who went to the cross and allowed himself to be humiliated, to be persecuted, put to death, so that we might have life. We celebrate that Jesus today in Mass, as always, when we hear him say, "This is my body, this is my blood, given for you for the forgiveness of sins." He gives himself to us, even if we're not perfect, even if we try our best and sometimes fail, even if we speak great things about our faith, but don't always live up to it. Jesus wants us to do what we can and to support those who are trying just as hard as we are. Let's remember that the next time we have an argument at the parish council meeting.